Let's go over the Symmetry tool in Clip Studio Paint. It's very useful if you are drawing objects or symbols that, might need some symmetry to them. I am using the desktop version of Clip Studio Paint, so everything might not be 100% translatable to mobile users. This tool can be found in the ruler section of your toolbar, so you can go ahead, if you find this logo right here, you are in the right place. You also have the option of pressing U 3 times as the default hotkey in order to get access to it. Now, I've had some people concerned that they accidentally deleted their Symmetry ruler and now they can no longer use it. Don't worry. If you've accidentally deleted your tool, you can go ahead and in the subtool area, right click and then add from default. And then you're going to go ahead and scroll all the way down from this list and you are going to create Symmetry ruler and I'll add it back on. Now, real quick before I get into the settings of the ruler, I am going to, it might not work as intended whenever you first use it. So if we place it down here and I use my pen tool and I draw a heart, but I have the tails here and I want to erase it, you might notice that by default, yours won't mirror. The reason for this is because the ruler will have snapping disabled. So I do have it visible here, but I'll show you real quick where it is in the subtool detail panel. If you just click this wrench here, this will pop up. You are going to go ahead and go into the correction right down here at the very, near the bottom. And you are just simply going to enable snapping. And once that's enabled, you can go ahead and erase as you were originally intending. This works for other tools as well. So for example, this pencil tool by default, it did not have snapping enabled. Thankfully, if I just enable it, now my drawing tool functions like it's supposed to. You can also disable it if it's applicable to you, so that's cool. I'm going to place another ruler down and I want to show y'all how to move it around. So by default, I had it straight down by pressing shift. That's something you can do. And what we're going to do here is you can see that my symmetry point is relatively to the center of the canvas, but it is definitely not exact. I just kind of placed it down randomly. If you want to place it down perfectly, if you want to have more control over that and over the angle, you're going to go over here to the operation panel. Now, the logo might be a bit different because it does share logos of these other three things in its library. So if you see the selected layer, light table, or edit timeline thing, you're in the right place. Don't worry about it. So you're going to select the object for this one. And you can click your ruler and you can move it around. Specifically, you can also edit the angle at which it's at if needed. I'm going to keep that at 90 for now. But as you can see, we have a center X and a center Y. Now, if you are in an interesting canvas, like prime numbers, odd numbers, etc., this might be a little more difficult to do. But as you can see up here, I have a 2000 by 2000 pixel canvas. If I want this dead in the center, I am just simply going to change both of my center X and my center Y values to 1000, and now it is perfectly in the center for me. We're going to go back to your symmetry ruler. In the tool properties, by default, all of the options should be visible, but in case it's not, you just click the wrench and you can select these little eye icons here to enable or disable what you can see. You have these options here. You have number of lines, line symmetry, and snap angle and creating editing layer. Oh my goodness. If you ever find yourself stuck on what a thing means, if you hover over it, it'll let you know what it does. Alright, so number of lines will tell us exactly how many lines it is going to create at the center of our ruler, right? So I'm going to switch this to 5 just to show y'all. So if I place this down here, you'll see that from these lines there are different segments, and if I go ahead and draw, you now have 5 different segments that all are mirrored over. This will be default set to 2, but you can change it in your settings to however many you need. It's really useful for symbols especially. Let's go ahead and you're going to notice here that when I set this to 5, line symmetry went ahead and grayed itself out, not letting me be able to do anything for it. So the reason why is because you need an even number of lines in order for the program to let you enable and disable line symmetry. Now, what this does is, it's kind of weird. So I will have to physically draw it up for you. But basically, when line symmetry is disabled, you are going to no longer have it mirrored, but instead it will duplicate and rotate your drawing as opposed to the previous setting. For the sake of visualization, just show something very simple on top of one another to demonstrate this. So with line symmetry on, if I make this design of hearts and a nice little like wavy design, you can see that they are all going to be relatively mirrored all over each other, right? Now, if we go ahead and disable this and place it relatively in the same spot, it's not going to be perfect. And let's change our color to purple. Now, if I create a similar design here, what you will notice is that these are no longer behaving how it once was. It is taking the drawing and just simply rotating it. Very interesting applications. If you are finding yourself needing to make like a pattern specifically, like a seamless pattern, I find that this might be useful to get a starting point. Obviously, you would still need to edit everything to make sure that it overlaps properly, but it's really nice to just like as a starting point have that. Now, snap angle, as you might have guessed, it simply snaps the angle whenever you hit shift to that angle. So right now it's at 45, so this is all 45 degrees. If, for example, I change this to, let's say, a weird number, like 156, it will be following that. Oh gosh, this was a bad number to choose, but you get the idea. I have noticed that it does not matter if this is enabled or not, it will always just follow whatever you have set, regardless of if it's checked or not. So back to 45, as you can see, it's functioning like normal. Creating an editing layer basically just lets you create your ruler on the selected layer down here, right? So if I want to place this down, it'll go ahead and make that. But if, for example, I had this disabled and I went ahead and placed it down, you'll see that now I have a new layer entirely. Very much up to user for that one, if that's something that you're looking for. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and draw something super quick. So even though we might have a drawing that benefits us from using the symmetry ruler the entire time, there might be asymmetry. So how do we edit the drawing in the layer if we want to tweak it a little bit? Well, you can disable the ruler by right-clicking the symbol right here, and just hitting show ruler. And as you can see, it is now gone, and whenever I go back to my canvas, it'll go ahead and just function like a regular layer. If I wanted to switch this ear to a floppy ear, for example, that's how I can do that. You can also, as you can see here, this is also how you can delete the ruler, right? But for this application process, let's just keep our ruler for now. If you want a way to quickly enable or disable your ruler, because even though it does say be here, you do still have to click in order for it to actually do anything. If you don't want to do that, a way that I would recommend is actually through auto actions. If you're not familiar with auto actions, basically it is a way for you to record things that you have done and repeat it over and over again. You can find auto actions under the window here, and it'll be down here. And I already have it over here. These are the defaults. Inverse fills like the one I made. For example, if I select the option here, this one is expand the selection by 1 pixel and fill. If I play that, it does the action. That's basically what it is. If you want to create your own in order to disable this, it's very easy. All we are going to do is we are going to create a new auto action, and it is going to be very simple. Press this button right here. I'm going to call this ruler toggle, and we are going to go ahead and hit record. And all we're going to do is go back to our layer, right click, show ruler, and then we're going to hit the square right here to stop recording. And now whenever we play it, it hides and shows the ruler as needed. If you really want to get technical, you can always bind these to a hotkey to make it even faster. But personally, I don't need to do that, so I'm not going to go over that for now. I might make a video on auto actions one day and I'll go over it then. Now, why didn't I delete the ruler earlier? Well, it's because we can actually use it again. So if I want to start line arting, for example, I don't necessarily want to try and guess where to place the ruler. Like, I would have to zoom in, like that is probably pretty accurate, but it's not going to exactly match the sketch beforehand, right? So instead, what I can do is actually grab the ruler from the sketch layer down here and just simply shift it up, and now the ruler has moved to my line art layer, and now I can go ahead and quickly line art it. This is going to be real scuffed, sorry y'all. I always recommend to keep your rulers just in case, but if you do need to delete it, it's just the same as before, where you right click, select delete ruler, and it'll go ahead and delete the ruler. I think that's all that I have for today. I hope y'all found this useful. I hope I made up for my sins of making a bad shorts video about this tool a few years ago. I kept getting comments to this day asking about specific things, and it's not a good tutorial, so I really wanted to make something a bit better and a bit more overall encompassing. If there's something you'd like for me to go over in Clip Studio, I would probably be happy to look into it. Thank y'all so much for watching. Bye!